Okie dokie. I have a few missions here. My first mission is to speak so that you can hear it. I have fans in the background, so it makes it even harder to record the voice. My second mission is that you can clearly watch at least these two sticks. And my third mission is to play well. But I'm leaving all that behind. I didn't warm up, and I'm just gonna see how my recording session goes. And my introduction is that this game is a manual thrust, realistic physics, space racing game with 6 degrees of freedom. So, the way to achieve manual thrust in Orbital Racer is to play simulation mode, which is only available on PC, and then also to turn float on, which I don't think that you can see is on, but there is a little indicator. And what float does is that it only allows my thrust inputs to change the vehicle's direction. So there's no auto-correct. So if I just point somewhere, the ship is not automatically going to try to fly where I'm pointing. I actually have to control the various directions of thrust manually in order to change my direction. In this game, the rear engine that accelerates you forward is the most powerful engine, and it's the most important one for high accuracy and high resonance and good turns, if you will. So I'm using the rear engine right here, but you still want to use all of the other degrees of freedom in order to control the craft for the best racing time, or so it appears to me. And you need to really be accelerating in the right directions at the right time to get either braking force or accelerating force in order to get the best time on your laps. Okay, so my second part of the introduction is that I'm using my 4 joystick game controller. Since I'm just warming up here, I can actually show you that I have thumbsticks. It's just that trying to play the thumbsticks on the camera at the same time as the finger sticks is quite a challenge. So even though I have this mirror and that's how you see the finger sticks, there's more problems because of lighting with making the sticks visible. So you can see I have these green things on the sticks so that you can see that I'm moving them. But the top of the game controller has a red LED that affects the ability of the camera to see everything, and then also the wire that's the USB cable that's plugging into the computer gets in the way of the camera as well. And since the top of the game controller is closer to the camera than the bottom of the game controller, I really have a hard time feeling like my stick motions are visible to a viewer. Okay. Oops. I'm not really driving necessarily the best racing fashion right now. Instead, I'm mostly driving more like just to achieve the hoops while I'm talking. It's very difficult to race and talk at the same time. So you might wonder to yourself, talking about the theory of the game, why do I need to even roll at all? What is the benefit to constantly rolling my craft? And there's 2 benefits, and one of them is just placebo. But by rolling, I feel that I have control of an orientation, so it's easier to keep track of where I'm going if my mind is able to consistently have things that are familiar to me, like an up. Throughout the course of the track, having an up and down makes it easier for me to keep track of the position of various objects in my desired direction. Additionally, this vehicle, as now you can see, does not accelerate evenly in all 6 directions. And actually you can't see because I placed my finger sticks right where the avatar is, but you can see there's 4 thrusters on the top of the vessel, but actually there's only 2 thrusters on each side, so accelerating up and down is actually faster than accelerating to the left and to the right. So if you want to get the most out of your lateral acceleration, then you want to do it. Oh, I just crashed. Well, I got disqualified and all my rings turned off. Okie dokie. Well, anyways, I actually do think that I disagree with the up and down versus the left and right. So in an airplane, you don't have a choice. You're using aerodynamics. And when you need to turn, what you need to do is you need to roll, and then you need to pull up. And then that will allow you to use your wings to change the momentum of the aircraft into the new desired direction of travel. But in space, we don't have that situation. Or anyways, a spacecraft doesn't have any air to use. So what you end up with is that now there's no particular reason to roll and pitch up other than the limited control inputs of one joystick. So many games, they roll and turn to change direction. First of all, they use unrealistic physics often, but even when they try to use realistic physics, what's going on is there's not enough controls in the game to make it easy. But once people are actually going to be actively managing and piloting a spacecraft, they're going to be needing enough controls anyway. So once people have enough controls, then ship design is going to be based on other factors. And in this case, turning your head to the left and to the right is much easier than turning your head up and down. Our head naturally turns to the left and to the right. Okay, so further, in a video game, the screen is wider to the left and to the right in every case. Human beings have, and probably because it's more comfortable to turn your head to the left and to the right, we prefer a wider screen than a taller screen. And people do occasionally have taller screens, and it was experimented with often enough that I can confidently say that human beings prefer a screen that is wider than it is taller. Cell phones actually give you a wider display, but the screen size is large because we are going to use that screen as our place where our hand will go. So while the screen is generally in an up and down orientation, most of that space is being used by just our hand and not our field of view, which is actually, again, wider and not taller. So actually, you would want to just turn to the left and to the right because it's easier to see where you're going to be going. And in a spaceship, this is exacerbated because what you need to do is you need to turn and then you need to accelerate with your main engine into a new direction, because the main engine